Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's presentation, Streamlining Employee Data Management with Core HR. I'm Judy Fort, a Senior Solutions Engineer from Deltek, and before we begin, I have a few administrative items to note. For the best webinar experience, please use Google Chrome or Firefox. If you have a question, please type it into the Q&A box at any time during the presentation. We will address as many questions as we can at the conclusion of the webinar, and any questions left unanswered will be addressed individually offline following today's presentation. Resources, including the presentation slides, are available for you to download in the Resources panel of your screen. All widgets can be resized to fit your computer screen. You will also receive the on-demand recording of today's webinar via email within 24 hours after the webinar ends. And now, let's get started. For many companies, effectively managing employee records can be a time-consuming process with paper forms, multiple folders, and manual updates. However, with Deltek Talent Core HR, you can eliminate these concerns by using an online system that keeps all of your employee information in one place. By tracking online, you gain easier access to information for your HR team, as well as employees and managers, and open up new self-service options for these groups. Join me today as I demonstrate the newest release of Deltek Talent Core HR. This module provides the foundation project-focused companies need to manage employee information, improve data integrity and efficiency, and enable employee and manager self-service options. During this session, you will learn how Deltek Talent Core HR features enable you to streamline employee information management while improving data integrity and increasing administrative efficiency, leverage employee and manager self-service to eliminate paper forms and manual data entry, and you will also gain an understanding of Core HR's integration with our partner Everything Benefits to streamline benefits enrollment. HCM can be a component of an ERP system or a separate suite that is typically integrated with the ERP. The term HCM has begun to replace the terms HRMS and HRIS as an umbrella term for integrated software that both core employee record management and talent management processes reside in. Deltek HCM gives our customers tools that cover talent management and core employee record management. In a project-based business, HCM can be viewed as the core processes that affect the way the organization acquires, grows, develops, and manages its resources. These processes can drive how employees experience and interpret the employment relationship. When we take this definition and apply it to the industries we serve, we add a few more unique aspects, with one being key: project teams. With this in mind, any human capital management solution for our customers and prospects must support these challenges. That's our aim and our vision. At the end of the day, we want to offer our customers everything they need to manage talent. Core HR will particularly help some of our smaller firms with manual HR processes to automate and streamline the administrative side of HR. This opens up the ability for strategic planning that is data-driven, managing the employee lifecycle from hire to retire in a single solution, and making sure that everything remains project-focused. It's all about freeing up time, energy, and focus so that HR professionals can have a material impact on their firm's culture, employee engagement, and retention. Within Deltek Talent Core HR, profile information about the employee is available. Access to employee data and edit capabilities is permission-based, so not all users will have view or edit options available based on your settings. Additional Deltek talent management data, such as current and past appraisals, is available depending on the modules you are using. The Personal and Contact Details tab will show personal information, contact information, veteran information, citizenship information, and passport information. Several of these fields, such as diversity and address items, will populate from data collected in Deltek Talent Acquisition when an employee is hired. Several of the fields will also have field leveling capabilities, and a page edit view is available. The Employment Details tab includes professional information, job information, compensation information, hire information, and termination information. These fields include field level editing. Some fields will also populate based on other areas of the solution. You also have the ability to update employee salary records from the screen, building out salary history. Employees can also be termed from the Employment Details tab of the Total Talent profile. This allows setting an effective date for the termination and takes the user to an offboarding wizard where they can reassign direct reports en masse if the employee was a manager, as well as other outstanding tasks like approvals. The Additional Information tab enables you to create your own custom fields to track information about your employees. For example, if you wanted to track additional information about the employee's workplace, assets, or general notes, you can create fields to capture that information. These fields can be maintained by HR, or you can make them available to employees and managers through self-service. There are two ways to access history: individual field modals and the History tab. Fields with history tracked will have history icons for you to view the history on screen. These will also be tracked in the History tab and include professional information, job information, compensation information, hire information, and termination information. Reports are also available for Core HR users. These provides VET 4212 and EEOC-1 reports for the employee population. Now let's take a deeper look at employee and manager self-service within Core HR. With employee and manager self-service, you can save time in having employees and managers submit forms, tracking those forms, and sending them to the right people, and your administration doesn't have to manually enter that data into a system. Remove room for error in hand keying data by having employees and managers enter this directly themselves. Support automation of changes a manager may submit in paper or emailed forms, like compensation changes. And for items that aren't approval-based but just need notifications, this is particularly helpful because triggers can notify anyone who may need to know about a change. For example, if an employee updates their address, you can notify payroll automatically so they can determine if new tax forms are needed. When an employee logs in to update their information, they will be able to view and edit the sections that you've given them access to. For example, if I need to update my address, I have the ability to come in to my profile and make this update. Changes can be immediate, or they can require an approval before taking effect. Notifications can also be sent as changes are made. Employees can see changes that are pending in the self-service tab of their profile. Another example is that I can view my current compensation history, but I cannot update my own compensation details. Likewise, a manager has visibility into their profiles for their employees. This gives them access to the data that you'd like them to see and edit, which can differ from what the employee can see and edit. For example, I may not allow my managers to see the diversity details, but I may allow them to submit compensation changes that require approvals. Like with employee-submitted changes, these can be immediate, they can require approval, or they can send notifications when entered. The Self-Service tab will show the manager pending changes that they've submitted. Deltek partners with Everything Benefits for benefits administration. Everything Benefits is a benefits administration technology company uniquely positioned to make it easier for employees to consume benefits while providing organizations better return on the investments in their existing systems, processes, and relationships. Everything Benefits provides many services for customers. Open enrollment for benefits is supported with carrier connections. Data communication should be seamless, and with Deltek Talent Core HR and Everything Benefits, it can be. Benefits enrollment data can be automatically configured and sent wherever it needs to go, ensuring that all records are kept up to date. Everything Benefits also provides automated COBRA administration. They monitor benefits data as it's updated, so when they see dependents are added, employees are terminated, and all other relevant COBRA events. There's no need for employers to notify them, they notify employees. Benefits reconciliation is also available with a one-of-a-kind solution that compares carrier invoices against real payroll deductions for benefits, flagging all overbilling, underbilling, and coverage mismatches in seconds. This is the initial welcome page that employees see when they first log into Everything Benefits to go through their enrollments process. This is customizable and employees can change the logo and the message. With Everything Benefits, employers can enable their employees to enroll in different plan types and structures. Employees can easily compare plans of the same type to help them choose the best option. Everything Benefits also offers AI-powered decision support, which asks employees for additional medical and demographic information and recommends the best plan based on actual claims data. Once an employee has selected their plans, they can review what their enrollment forms would look like. These forms are auto-populated with the information already entered by the employee. Employees can sign their form using a signature upload, typed e-signature, or they can just draw their signature with their mouse or using a smartphone. Administrators have access to robust reporting and analytics tools, allowing them to approve employee enrollments, track enrollment progress, and monitor enrollments in different plans to continuously improve benefit selection. Everything Benefits is able to automatically send employee enrollments to a network of over 600 carriers using solutions built for employers of any size. Thanks so much for joining today's session. We have a few minutes left for questions, so if you have any questions about the information I just presented, please submit them through the Q&A portion of the console, and I'll give everyone a few moments to do that.
All right, so we have some questions that are coming in now. The first one that I have is Core HR available on multiple devices? And the answer is yes. So what we've seen today is really using that on the computer, but just like the rest of the Deltek Talent Management Suite, the Core HR component is accessible on mobile devices. So if you need to use a tablet or a phone in order to access or make changes or approve changes, those would all be available through the mobile devices too. Next question, can you easily change the settings for employees once they've been set? And absolutely. So a lot of what we've looked at is things that will be done during the implementation of the solution. So like what fields you'd like to have available, any additional information, what sections employees and managers have access to, either viewing or editing through employee self-service, as well as approvals. But that doesn't mean that you're stuck with that. So if in 6 months you decide that, hey, we want additional notifications to go out when this particular item is being updated, or you'd like to have additional fields available to the employee to be able to change, or maybe you don't want managers to have access to this section of information, those are things that you can change yourself through the administration area. We'll certainly show you how to set those up initially, and you'll use the same tools to be able to modify those long-term. So if there are additional pieces of information to capture or different changes to how you want those employees to be able to see and edit information in that Core HR section, you'll be able to make those changes yourself. Great, another question somewhat related to that. With self-service, will the custom settings for who can view what be applied, and how can I train my teams on how to use self-service? So absolutely, in the kind of configuration and setup section, you'll be able to choose which sections different user groups have visibility into. So your employees versus your managers versus your Core HR administrators might have different visibility into the solution and the pieces of information after the fact. That is something that you can assign, that visibility, but also the editing. So who can not only see different fields, but who can edit them. So today we saw that HR has quite a bit of visibility, has quite a bit of ability to edit. The employee sees slightly different information, can edit different information. The manager, yet again, saw and could edit different pieces. As far as training, there should be some training videos available within our Deltek Learning Zone. So if you have access to that, you should be able to use that to access training information. But also, whenever we put out new releases or changes, we do provide some information release notes to help you really understand how to use that going forward. Can the triggers be customized as far as approvals and notifications? So yes, so you'll be able to choose for each type of change. Let's say the employee is making an address change, we want approvals or notifications on that. You can choose if you need those approvals or notifications. And it can you can use different types of settings for different things. So if the manager setting the compensation requires an approval and alerts to different people, or if something as simple as just changing my preference on a certain piece of information does not require an approval, you'd be able to configure those on a per basis. I have quite a few questions about everything benefits that came through, and so those will be things that we'll follow up with outside of the webinar. So they are a partner that we're working with. So if you have any questions about everything benefits, or you'd like to be put in touch with a contact there so you can learn more about the benefits offering and how that would fit into your infrastructure, go ahead and let us know. Just put your name and let us know that you're interested in additional information on everything benefits, and we'll make sure to reach out and get you in touch with somebody who can provide you a lot more detail on what their offering is and some of the capabilities there as well. Great. And I do have a question, what is the cost of Core HR? And I've gotten that question a couple of times now, and really that's something we would have to follow up with you on a one-on-one basis. It does vary depending on company. So we just want to make sure we understand fully your requirements and your needs there so we can follow up after and get you a little bit more information about what's available as far as the pricing and the options that might be available for Core HR. If I have another talent module now, how will this impact that module? And so the Core HR is an additional module to any of the other parts of the talent management suite. So for example, if you're using the talent acquisition suite today and you're using that to hire and onboard your employees, this would be another module so that once an employee is hired, it would automatically create their employee record and you would have access to that employee from a Core HR perspective. So it populates a lot of the information in the Core HR record for you. So your name, your address, the ability to track the diversity information like gender, race, veteran status, and disability status, some of your basic job information like your EO job category. All of that information will pre-populate based on information that came from talent acquisition. It doesn't necessarily have a lot of impact on other parts of the solution unless you were to do things like make changes to the employee's job title. That could potentially change required training, or it could change what performance review process they fall under. So it could potentially impact some workflows that you have in place just based on changes to the employee's demographic information, but it shouldn't ultimately have any impact on your overall use of those different pieces of the solution. How many terms and rehire dates can we track? Some of our seasonal people have multiple dates that we'd like to track. Right. And in this case, there's no limit to how many historical dates can be tracked. The most recent data for both the termination and the hire dates, you're going to see on that Core HR record. But if you go into the history section, you would have that full history. So if you do have multiple rehire dates that are taking place for a single employee, then you would have, again, the most recent that's showing up on that record. But when you go and dive into the history, you would be able to see the history as far as the rehire and termination that's happening there. And I'm not sure that I want managers to see employment details like salary history. Some of our positions, there are decisions made at the director level. Can we hide this? Absolutely. So those different sections that show up within that form, you can choose what information your managers have access to. So if there are sections that you don't want them to be able to view, we can turn those sections off. So similar to how in my examples, I had the compensation, the employee could view it but not edit it, and the manager could edit it. I could just hide that from view altogether, or hide that editing capability from the manager as well to make that so they may see it but not be able to make those changes. So again, it's permission-based on which of those pieces of information you really want your manager to see and which of those you might want them to be able to make changes to. Can employees change their home address, and will I be able to approve that or get notifications? Yes. So they'd be able to change their home address as well as any of that other information that you choose to make them to. And again, they could have approvals or notifications tied to that. I did get a couple more questions about everything benefits, and again, we'll get you in touch with some individuals to reach out for that. And then a few questions around kind of converting manual processes. We are currently doing some of these processes on paper and some of them through digital tools. How easy would it be to tie that into Core HR? And it really depends on what you're doing today. If you have a paper system today where you're tracking employment information, a lot of that information can be tracked within the Core HR module, either using the fields that come with the system or using that additional information tab to track additional details that you want to be able to log for the employees. So it's really just going through what you have and where you have it and determine how much of that makes sense to be stored within that Core HR module. And also evaluating if some of the other pieces, if performance reviews is something oftentimes people are doing manually today, and while those don't fall into Core HR, we do have a talent module that addresses being able to capture performance reviews. So it might be looking a little bit broader than that Core HR module, but tracking training and certifications and learning, or tracking the performance reviews through the performance tool. It may not necessarily be within Core HR, but there are ways within talent management as a whole to track some of those processes. So we just really would talk with somebody on our team, see what your needs and requirements are there, and we could evaluate what might be the best fit for you going forward. And that was the last question that I have in the chat. So if there are any other questions, if you want to put them in the Q&A panel now, I'd be happy to answer those. And again, I'll give a couple minutes just in case there are additional questions, or if you want to put anything in that Q&A panel to let us know that you want us to reach out to you about everything benefits, we'd be happy to do that. And I'll just give everyone a minute to do that before we wrap everything up. I'm not seeing any more there, but I'll keep an eye on that as we go ahead and close everything out. But before we do officially conclude, we want to remind you that you will receive an on-demand recording of today's webinar via email within 24 hours. And if we're not able to get to your question today, which I think we addressed most of those, but we'll follow up where we need to, we'll be sure to follow up with you offline. Also, we do appreciate if you would fill out the short survey you'll see at the conclusion of today's webinar. And with that, I'd like to thank you for joining us today, and please visit deltek.com for more upcoming Deltek events. Thanks, everybody, and have a great day.